Hello,
Hello.
is my voice clear?
Yes, your voice is very clear. Hello, is this Dina? Dina Salam?
Dina Abd Elsalam, yes.
Okay. Salam?
Dina Abd Elsalam.
Abd Salam. Ahlan wa sahlan.
Ahlan.
Dina, very nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too.
Yes, your voice is clear and the image is clear. So
Great.
thank you for joining us today for this little chat.
Thank you for having me, actually.
Yeah, we're very happy to have your film and to have you in this third edition of the festival. I'll be conducting this interview. My name is Shakir Ashhabar, Shakir in Arabic, Shakir, and I'm the director of the festival. Basically, we'd like to know more about the film, how it was made, and also we'll maybe go over your experiences, your cinema experiences, and maybe your projects in the later part of the interview. Yeah. So we are recording this interview, and we'll probably be editing some of it so that we can put it online, and people interested by your film and knowing more about your film will probably be able to watch it.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much for having me. And actually, I would like to start with congratulating you on the idea of this festival. You know, a festival that focuses particularly on comedy. Yes, you are a pioneer. And this festival, I would say, is a pioneer because we don't really have festivals that celebrate comedy in our part of the world. Ironically, because, you know, we are known for our sense of humor, and Arabs in general are known for their sense of humor. And comedy is part and parcel of our lives, actually. You know, we don't live without comedy. And so, you know, the first time I read about your festival, I was really enthusiastic. And I said, well, I'm so happy. Finally, there is an Arab festival celebrating comedy.
Well, it is, as you say, comedy is, it is a little ironical, and it's probably true also, maybe, I think it would be true maybe in Egypt too, but here, for example, in Morocco, comedy is probably the genre that the audience likes the most. Okay. When we have a comedy coming out in movie theaters, well, a lot of people show up. Mm-hmm. Much more than for drama films, you know.
Yeah.
Yet, for some reason, the people in the industry, the people of the cinema believe it's lesser of a genre, you know.
Exactly.
It should not get to that point where we need to compare it to the drama and everything.
Exactly. I do agree with you. People tend to look down upon comedy, and they consider it less serious than tragedy. And I think this is a mistaken, you know, concept, or it's a mistaken idea, simply because comedy can be really very, you know, I think the idea or this confusion comes from the fact that there is low comedy and high comedy, okay? And low comedy is, you know, like farce and slapstick and, you know, kind of comedy. And that's the dominant kind of comedy that we see in movies in Egypt. I don't know about Morocco, but for instance, this is the kind of comedy that is, you know, more dominant. Whereas there are forms of comedy that are high, you know, like, for instance, dark comedy is sort of high comedy because it's a comedy that addresses illness or disease or death, okay? Satirical comedy, okay, where you get to satirize political or social situations. I mean, it can be really serious, and it can address your intellect. It addresses your brain. It is not just geared towards making you laugh out loud, and that's it. So I think this is where the confusion comes from.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think the comedy genre, and this is why the festival is trying to bring a very different type of comedy films. We believe that the language of comedy is very, very open and very vast, and it's important to have this culture of what can be done with comedy, and things can be extraordinarily said through comedy, whether it's a comedy film or sometimes it's not, it's a drama film, but you would use humor at one point or another to also to help out with the with the story, with the, because comedy can be a genre for the whole film from start to beginning, but it can also be an ingredient that you may use at one point or another to let people breathe, to give a different perspective about things, and so it's very rich. It's a very rich word, and
it is.
Festivals like this specialized festival need to help people understand the richness of this word, and maybe help also professionals make better comedies by bringing them together, by thinking together about by watching each other's films, etc.
Yeah, I think this festival definitely throws more light on comedy, on this particular genre, and it helps us, or helps people appreciate it as a genre that is extremely important, particularly to us in the Arab world, since it's part and parcel of our daily life. I mean, and the funny thing is, like Egyptians, speaking about Egyptians, since I come from Egypt, for instance, in the darkest of moments, they tend to laugh things off. They tend to, I think it's a kind of defense mechanism, okay? Yeah. You laugh things off. You want to alleviate your pain or suffering through comedy. So it is something that I see around me all the time here. And then when it comes to critics and so on, they look down upon comedy. So I think there is something that needs to be addressed here.
Well, also to get respect, there's no better way than work toward what needs to be done to get that respect, and who should work? Basically, people interested in comedy, people defending comedy. This is why it's very important for festivals to comedy festivals to really polish the image, make sure people understand, communicate in such a way that we elevate this genre, which is to me it is the most difficult genre.
It is. Yeah, this is an extremely important point too. Making comedy or creating comedy is extremely difficult. Yeah. Particularly if you are addressing an audience who, by definition, are very comedic, are very their sense of humor is amazing. It's always very difficult to make them laugh. I mean, it's easier to make people cry than laugh.
Exactly. I agree with you. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about cream of the crop. Which in Arabic is
it is wish al-afas. Wish al-afas.
This is more Egyptian.
This is Egyptian. Al-afas is actually, it's like a basket or something in which in which people put I mean, of course, in a marketplace, this is where you get to see all the fruits, for instance, stacked or something, and usually you get the best,
like a basket in Egypt.
Sort of. You can see it on the poster. Actually, this is
okay. Well, it's behind me, so
yeah. But here, of course, this poster is a little bit, like surrealistic. So there is a fish instead of fruit.
Okay. Okay, so in this case, it's the aquarium. It's the
because there is this particular character in the movie who has a fish in a fish tank, and she keeps talking to the fish. And through her this link with the fish, we get to see that she is imprisoned just like the fish. And so the artist, Ashraf Mahdi, who designed and drew the poster, sort of wanted to mix both ideas. The main idea, let's go back to the idea of wish al-qafas. It's something related to fruits, okay, or vegetables in a marketplace. And usually what people do is put the best, okay, fruits on top, exactly. And then of course underneath, you know, the lesser or the, you know, the less fruits that are not as fresh as the ones on top. And so the film is actually takes place in a jam factory, jam manufacturing company. And so of course they use fruits, okay? But we don't use it here in the film. It's not used just about fruits, but it's actually about, it's used on a metaphorical level. People who consider themselves to be, you know, like, you know, cream of the crop, the best of the best. Who is actually the best of the best? Because I mean, in this jam manufacturing company, or we get to see different employees, okay, with different characters, and we get to see their interaction with one another. And through those interactions, this question arises: who is the best? Okay, and they also tend to bully someone, or they we get to see a character that is being marginalized by them, and they keep saying that he is, you know, a bit immoral, or he is not to be trusted, or whatnot. So, you know, it's like, who is, you know, the cream of the crop? And this is an open question that the film raises.
Yeah, addresses. Yeah. Well, the film is very, very interesting in its manner of telling the story, because it brings us this whole world. We start understanding first what is the word, meaning what are the characters, very different, and I would say very human characters, very close to the, you know, the popular type of characters, meaning people, normal people, yet with characterized, each one with its own manner of being, and I think you've done a very good work in the beginning, the first maybe 20 minutes, showing us these characters and what makes them special, and they are indeed very special. It's very interesting the way you portrayed it. It's almost like a novel.
Yeah, thank you so much. Actually, it was, you know, our decision while writing the script. How are we going to present all of these characters? Because there are a lot of characters. In my previous movies, usually I had a character or two. And this is the first time I have, you know, characters on this large scale, so many characters interacting with one another, and, you know, their lives get intermingled or intertwined. So I wanted, you know, to present them, but also present them in a humorous way, in a way that is lighthearted, not serious. And so I felt that perhaps if I take a particular trait of the character and present it, you know, and that particular trait or that particular idiosyncrasy or that particular, you know, characteristic of the character, if you like, and through that trait, I am going to sort of penetrate the character and understand it better. I felt that this would be, like interesting and perhaps also humorous. Because sometimes people do little things, and it is these little things that add up and build the character as a whole.
Exactly, and you used also the narrator's voice to, which is a choice, bold choice to present them, and as a matter of fact, put the humor when it needs to be shown, and at the right time, right manner, with the image.
The narrator it was, as you said, it was a choice that we made while we were writing the script. I was co-writing the script with Ashraf Mahdi, and we had, like a lot of debates whether we should have a narrator or not, and what is the use of what are the benefits of having a narrator in the first place, because it's something that can have some benefits, but can also have some disadvantages. But towards the end, it was like our decision to have a narrator, and we felt that tailoring his words and choosing the right sentences. I mean, while writing the sentences of the narrator, I mean, we had to think a lot about what he was going to say, because like he says 2 or 3 sentences about each character, but it's like if he makes a particular mistake, then people are going to misjudge the character or take the wrong impression about the character. So the narrator, yes, was a tough decision, but we eventually opted for that decision, and we worked towards creating it in a way that would make the film, sound better or look better or innovative in a way. I think, I mean, narration has been there, I mean, since the beginning of, the narrator is always there, even in literature, it's always there. But it's the how you do it, how you present what he says. I think this is where we wanted to, like create something different and new.
Yeah, and also maybe the choice. This is also, I suppose, your choice to me have multiple protagonists. Obviously, maybe Batta, maybe the main protagonist, but we see all the protagonists, and it doesn't evolve only around her. The movie is
I do agree.
Many heroes, okay, in a way.
Exactly. Yeah. It's as you said, Batta, the woman who is in charge of creating this money pool. Of course, she is the main character, and she's the hero of the movie. But also, all the other characters are equally important, and we have a lot of protagonists. And even if some like characters appear in a limited number of scenes, but I think each and every character is important. I mean, there is no character that is just added simply to have more characters, and that's that. No, but the character is there for a particular reason. Speaking of Batta, I think that and this perhaps brings us to the idea of the film itself, the idea of creating a money pool. It is something that's very Egyptian, okay? I don't know if you have something.
It's also very, very Moroccan.
Okay, so I think,
it's the poor man's bank, it's them getting together and deciding they'll create, in a way, a bank that will lend money to each one of them. The association becomes a small
it's like a
banking
exactly, it's like a savings club, or it's like a but it's not an institution. Definitely, it's not something that's really, I mean, it's people do it among themselves.
How do you call it in Arabic?
Jamaya.
No, that's the association, but the money pool.
Yeah, it's called جمعية. نعمل جمعية.
يعني جمعية. In Moroccan they call it دارت يعني دارة يعني
دارت.
it's like it makes a turn because each one will benefit at one point, and
exactly.
they call it darts.
Darat. Okay, that's very interesting.
So yeah, and it's very people, you know, especially let's say people who are in modest conditions will most of them have used this mechanism, especially women, at one point or another.
That's it. Yeah, women are always famous for, you know, being in charge of this jamaya or darat or whatever, or this money pool. And actually, the interesting thing is when I was writing the script, I did Google it to find out if it exists. I found that it existed. It does exist in different communities and in different countries. I don't know how popular it is, but it does exist. In Egypt, it's extremely popular. And as you said, women are always the ones in charge of this jamaya. And I think it's something related to, you know, Batta in the film, the one who is, you know, who plans this jamaya and who creates this jamaya or money pool, is very clever. She's very intelligent, but she is also very domineering. She likes to dominate and she likes to change the course of things at times. So
sometimes manipulates even
exactly,
so that she can get her way.
Exactly. And so I felt that, you know, this is something that is very popular. I mean, you hear about it all the time, wherever you go, jamaya, jamaya, jamaya. So how about I make a film about it, okay? And the interesting thing is that in a jamaya, you get so many people, okay, joining this jamaya or taking part in it. And so it's an ideal place where you get a lot of relationships, a lot of interactions, a lot of friction also as well, as we see in the film. So it's an ideal place where you will get a lot of, you know, like drama, if you like.
Yeah, well, as a matter of fact, the movie, to me, I mean, what I felt watching it is that it also portrays a certain social condition of Egyptian society, at least the lower part of the society, or the you know, the people who are in
low social class.
Need. They're not poor, but because some of them work, some of them are retired.
Exactly.
But they seem all to have money problems.
Exactly. Some of them belong to the low social class. Some of them belong to the middle or lower middle social class. And one of them actually belongs to the high class. Exactly. But she gets, you know, like, manipulated by Bat, and she is asked to join jamaya, and she does join this jamaya. So it's
also funny how we hear about this company. You know, they all work for the company, or they have worked for this company, this jam company. So, but this company seems to be not, you know, very modern, not doing very well. You know, they seem to be it seems to be like a poor man company, you know, where they're left out of stock. You know, they need to do something and they don't have enough ingredients, and it doesn't look very modern. People work there, but I mean, it's not like the model of efficiency. You know, it's like
no, it's just, I think it's a reflection of their social situation. It's very much in keeping with their situation in life. They, in a way, represent the company, and the company represents them, you see. And it's not uncommon, actually, to see these, you know, old-looking companies and offices and employees who do not really feel like working, who are fed up, who would rather do anything than work, actually. Like in Mozzafin, we see the employees we see in this movie or in this jam manufacturing company. They are so fed up, they don't want to work, they have lost interest. And they are the reason why, of course, this company is not doing well. So it's like perhaps the general atmosphere as well is
Exactly.
not encouraging, is not
They have
encouraging.
agreed on it. I mean, even the general manager is taking it
Exactly.
easy, and nobody. The only one who's making the effort is that head of research and development. But then it
He
is.
comes up with with funny solutions that cannot be actually implemented too.
And he has big problems in his house with his wife, and
Exactly.
it's a funny manner also to present this kind of companies, because we have a lot of these type of companies in the Arab world. I mean,
Exactly.
companies that are not doing well, not making a lot of money, yet people live off these companies, and it helps a group of people sustain their living,
Yeah.
So it's interesting that
It's, I mean, like these employees and these offices, I see them all the time around me. And I know they have been presented, earlier in other movies, definitely. But the thing is, it's how we are going to present them in this movie. And then, because, everything has been presented before. I mean, you talk about anything, well, it has been made before or presented before. But the thing is, how are you going to present it? And how are you going to present, this, the director of this, dying company? How are you going to present the head of the, research or development department in this company? How, what about his character and so on, his relationship with the others, his inventions, which are so absurd and farcical and so on. So I think, it's like, it's an old topic, but we are trying to perhaps present it in a new way. I mean, we tried at least to do so.
Yeah. No, but it's to me it's realistic, and it's very nice way to, because what happens is that these employees, in fact, we through this company, they know each other very well. They interact personally with each other. It's not like each one has his own life.
No.
They know each other. They know what's happening, and they react to all these situations. And it becomes the company becomes also like a social network, that helps them live by, and that helped create that money pool, because Fatah went to those guys. She knew
exactly.
to
Exactly. It's like their lives are all interconnected because they work or they are related to this, dying. I like to use the word dying, company. But at the same time, the money pool even gets them even more connected. Or because now they are all joining the same thing, and then things get, of course, complicated towards the end, and they all have to sit together and discuss what are we going to do now. And so this is when a lot of friction takes place, and this is when the real metal or the real characters, surface, because now it's not a time of pretending or just faking a particular attitude, but now you have to be yourself, and to so it's like uncovering them and seeing them at or seeing their true selves and their true characters, as it were.
Exactly. And you use something also that happens very often in these money pools is you have a problem, and then it's very nice system if you don't have a problem, if everybody does his share paying, and
Exactly.
but if you have a problem where somebody dies or disappears or with the money, or then you're in big trouble. The rest, are in big trouble. You know, it's
Exactly. Yeah.
so it's when it happened. Obviously, we see different faces of them. You know, we kind of discover new aspects of
of their
people,
characters.
and maybe there we feel that the writer or the director is very satirical, you know, showing that people can be very nice and have nice relations and everything, but as soon as you touch their
Pockets.
their pockets,
Money.
in a nutshell, you said the whole story when Batta was driving with the taxi driver and the guys.
Exactly.
It's pretty much the same thing. You know, they were nice to each other and everything, but then when the change disappeared, everybody became nasty, you know.
Exactly. I'm so glad you got the essence of this particular the first scene or the opening scene.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, you know, like watch it and they just don't sort of see the relationship between this opening scene and the rest of the movie.
The whole movie. Yeah.
When actually the opening scene is actually it sets the tone for the rest of the movie, and it says everything in a nutshell. You know, it sort of, you know, tells us everything. So it's like it prepares us for what's going to happen. So it's more or less the same thing. You get it at the beginning and you get it towards the end. I'm really glad you sort of
you did show it very well. So it's
no, because some people don't get it. So, you know, I mean, I started doubting myself. Is it unclear or what?
No, to me it's quite clear. I think you have a certain stance towards also, you know, the relations in society, and you probably, you know, you tell also that truth. I mean, comedy, we say also it's the art of saying the truth. I mean, you may start with a lie, with a situation that doesn't that is not believable, but once you're stuck with that, you say, okay, this is my premise, then you're forced to say the truth about people, and that's what makes it really at the same time can be funny, can be humoristic, but credible. Really, that's why we feel the comedy as something true, because it tells something about us. It tells something about
I think this is one of the strong tools of comedy, if we can say so. It's like you can address issues which you cannot address when you're speaking seriously, because you're creating comedy, so you can talk about anything and address anything, and then at the end you say, well, this is comedy. You see, people tend to accept things when they are in this framework, in this comedic framework, and so this is how comedy can go, you know, far, and address topics which people would rather not address in a more serious tone or in a more serious setting. So I think this is one of the benefits of comedy. And of course, it's uncovering the ills and the malaise and the ailments of a society. You do comedy, okay, but at the same time, you're doing it not just to evoke the laughter of people, but also to make them think and to reflect on their lives and on what's being presented to them, of course.
Exactly, because at one point, and this is also something you've done very well, this guy who was a plumber because he's been fired from the Mansour, because he's been fired from the company, and they believed he had stolen something, or so he was. So there was this doubt about him, and they would use it. They would say, "Oh, but you've been fired for this."
And they had
they wanted to be mean with him. They would, and he seemed like a nice person, but they could be very mean with him. You know, when they needed to. and at the end you're showing that they're worse than him, you know, because
exactly.
they were looters at the end. They all were looting from
The house. Yeah, exactly.
That shows also you know, how sometimes society works, and they could be all they could all agree that this guy is bad, when in fact they are all worse than that guy.
And this is where you asked me at the very beginning of this interview, what do I mean by the title of the film, Wish al-Qafas, or the cream of the crop? They all pretend to be nice and sweet and moral at the beginning, and they keep accusing him of being a thief, and of course, and their accusations are foundless because they don't really have any proof. Okay. And no evidence. It's just, you know, like a rumor that has been going around, and, you know, no one actually thought about, you know, like making sure, you know, if this rumor was right or not or wrong. Okay. And they keep saying that he is, you know, he is the villain, or he's the bad guy in this film. But towards the end, we get to see perhaps the opposite, that perhaps he is better than them, and he's actually the cream of the crop, and it's not, and they are, you know, like the sick fruits, or you know, like they are not as good as him, definitely, and they just keep accusing him, and then when we see them, you know, acting without any masks, you know, we see their true metal, we see their true identity, and then they reveal all the evil inside them.
Yeah, exactly, and that was also a very nice demonstration of all this, because it we weren't really expecting it. I mean, we could see that he was a nice guy, helpful, and they were a bit unfair to him, but we could not expect such change in the this ending in terms of how they all react and how they solve the problem. But we come out of the movie with the bittersweet sense of how human condition is, you know, and maybe also saying that maybe, is it because of the money? Is it we're, you know, being poor is sometimes a curse to people, because
exactly,
they need money so much that they, you know, they can
cause of evil.
Well, congratulations again for the whole
thank you so much.
And you told me you co-wrote it with somebody else, so you were both working. So how was this collaboration? How can you co-write a movie?
Well, the idea, I'm the one who came up with the idea, but then when it comes to writing the script, speaking of the script, I came up with the idea, and then I always feel it's a good thing to co-write the script, because you have someone to discuss things, okay, with them, and to debate, and to come up with the best. It's like when you're writing on your own, sometimes you are one-track minded, sort of. But to have a second eye and to have someone, you know, like developing things with you, I think it's always better. And you know, Ashraf Mahdi has worked on this movie with me as a co-writer, and he worked previously with me on another film titled Mystica and Rihan. I mean, I have been through this, you know, experience before, and it worked quite well. So I said, well, why not try and you know, repeat again the same thing in this movie. Another thing is in the independent filmmaking or at least in my movies, I tend to play many roles, you know, like I'm the writer, I'm the director, I'm sometimes the producer or co-producer, I'm the editor. So sometimes, you know, whenever you find help or someone who is, you know, going to help you in any of those roles and do a good job. So definitely it's an addition to the film.
Yeah, yeah. So, as you say, as long as you felt in the first project that it was a positive, constructive collaboration, yeah, why not? Why not? Is Ashraf also? He's a screenwriter.
He is the one who played the role of Mansour, by the way.
Ah, okay. Ah, so he's
also an actor.
Ah, so he's also an actor. Ah, okay.
And he was also a co-producer in this movie. By the way, he's the one who made the animation, you know, the short film at the very beginning, because he's also an animator.
Ah, okay. So he's also an artist.
Yeah, he's an artist, and he's also, he is also one of the people who he drew this poster, and he drew also some of the posters of the jam manufacturing company. So that's why he's actually a co-producer, because he also played a lot of roles in this film. And so he's one of the co-producers of this film, along with a newly emergent production company, New Picture production company.
New Picture, and it's an Egyptian company.
Yeah, it's a new production company. Yes, it's Egyptian.
Okay, but this production is how does it work? The production process in Egypt. Do you find the money to make the film through producers, or you have state fund helping with making the film, or basically it's people who are interested in making money through movie theaters, or what is the business model?
Now, of course, there is the commercial cinema, okay, and this is a different story. My film does not definitely belong to commercial cinema. And of course, in the commercial cinema, you find a producer or a production house that is willing to produce your film, but you have to have a star, okay, a well-known actor or actors. And most of the time, it's either action films or comedy films, okay. There are a number of companies who are actually the tycoons and who manipulate the scene, who are, you know, dominate the scene, if you like. My film is an indie film. It's an independent film, and the budget is extremely low. I mean, the production company gave us a very small budget, which we worked, you know, according to this very low budget. But of course, the budget was not enough. So Ashraf, Mahdi, and myself, we are also co-producers because we played a lot of roles without really getting paid, like the writing and the directing and the editing and the color correction and the sound mixing. All of these, you know, jobs were done in the film by Ashraf, Mahdi, and myself. And I mean, this is the first time, actually, we were lucky to find a production company, despite the fact that, of course, it's a very low budget, but at least we had a production company at this time. Earlier, all my films were self-produced. Okay, so I produced them on my own. I don't have a production company. It's like I'm just a completely indie filmmaker, and sometimes Ashraf Mahdi would also co-produce, like in Mystica and Rihan, he was the co-producer as well. This is another film that was that came earlier. And so this is how it works. In my case, of course, there are different cases. And most of the time, indie films will resort to funding to make their films. I have been very unlucky when it comes to funds. I never received any funding.
You mean national funding, local funding?
Not national funding, but foreign funding.
Foreign funding.
Yeah. I mean, also I was unlucky because I never received also state funding. There used to be state funding for films, but it's on hold now. I hope they resume and start again producing films, because, you know, when this happens, a lot of good movies are made. Okay, but when, you know, it's just producers doing what they want, you know, then this is, they have their agenda, or they have a certain kind of movie that they want, a particular star that they are forcing on the director. And, you know, this is commercial cinema. The state will usually do more serious films, and will you know, like allow people to be more innovative and artistic. So most indie films, you know, will resort to foreign funding, but again, foreign funding is sometimes it also has its, you know, like disadvantages, because, you know, most of the time the funder wants you to address particular topics. Okay, he's giving you the money to talk about a particular thing. And most of the time they have this Orientalist view towards our countries. So it's like you have to fit in the way they look at our countries, the world they view our countries. And as an indie artist, I believe, you know, that indie meaning independent, meaning I do what I like, what I believe in, without any one telling me what to do or what not to do. So in the commercial cinema, you have a producer and a particular set of you know, ideas, you know, controlling the scene. And if you're getting foreign funding, then you're also being controlled by, you know, this foreign funder who wants you to address particular topics and so on. So you're not really free on both sides.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I said, but with a film like your latest film, The Cream of the Crop, don't you think it could commercially be attractive to people, because it's still a comedy with.
What do you think? Do you think it's going to be attractive? I mean, as someone who has seen the film,
it is a very intelligent, funny film. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we think so too. That it's not really. It's not a, you know, I mean, it's accessible. People can easily relate to it. But every time you go to a distributor and ask them to help you distribute the film, sell it to you know, like a particular channel, or to, you know, these new what do they call them, the platforms, exactly. Yeah. The new platforms, they will tell you who's the star. Do you have a star in the film? And you tell them no, but just watch the film first and judge for yourselves. They will say no. So it's like, again, they are so one-track minded. Yeah. And it's like, if you have a star, I'm going to help you distribute the film. If you don't have a star, then sorry, I'm not even going to watch the film. Okay, so it's like,
it's a dilemma. It's very yeah, and in fact, when you're an indie filmmaker, you want to make a film that are very good, but cheaply, because you don't have the money to bring in a star, or to
exactly. Yeah, definitely. If you
had that money, you wouldn't be doing an indie film. But obviously, they need to be well directed, these actors, so that they have nice performances, just like in your film. I thought they all you know, all your
some of them are first-time actors, actually.
Yeah, yeah, and the performances were really nice, up to the level. So yeah, this kind of films can break through. To me, your film could break through.
I think that, I mean, this is, I mean, something that really deeply hurts me. You know, it's one thing that, you know, I feel every time the audience, the spectators see the film, they say, we like your films. Why aren't they accessible? Why don't we see them on, you know, the platforms? Many platforms are out there nowadays, or any channel. I tell them, well, it's not my mistake, it's not my fault. No one wants to help me distribute these films.
Yeah.
So it's like I just need to, like reach the audience, and I don't know how to do it. Up until now, I need perhaps a visionary distributor who thinks out of the box and who is willing to take the challenge, and because otherwise they all, like follow the same rules and think the same way. We just need to start to.
Yeah, well, yeah, they're, they feel they want to take the safe choices, and they're, it's all over the world. We have the same problem. I mean, indie movie makers are confronted with this. I myself, I'm a producer and director, and I also have this kind of concerns, for my own projects. But this is why, to me, the film should at least have some kind of exposure to people of the industry, and like festivals, like people see it, talk about it. The press should talk about it, and hopefully it is the way out. Because once you're famous the producer and the director, things change. They can trust you. Even if you tell them, okay, I'm not bringing a star, they really trust you because they made money with your film, already.
I know what you're talking about. Once you're famous, once people know you, they will let you do anything. And even if you do things that are not really good, they are willing to praise it and, to say great things about it. But when you are an incognito or you're unknown, okay, no one is willing to help you. No one is willing to risk, anything. It's safer to, like abide by the rules, and it's always safe. You need someone who is different and who thinks differently to sort of embrace what you're doing.
But tell me, what were the movies that you've made so far now?
I made a short movie called Rest in Peace. It's a 16-minute short film, fiction film. And then I also made a documentary film, a 30-minute documentary film called Kana wa Akhawatha, Girls of a Feather. And then I made a 60-minute feature film called Mystika and Rihan, Mystika wa Rihan. And
this is a feature film for cinema or for TV, or?
No, again, it's another indie film, which was it was never actually. It's very much like Wish al-Afas, like the film we're talking about.
And it's a comedy also.
It is, it definitely has this comedic element in it. Yeah. Okay. And then Wish al-Afas. This is my latest film.
So this is your second feature film.
But actually, when it comes to Mystika and Rihan, people will always, debate whether it's a feature film or a short film, because it's a 60-minute film. So they say it's very difficult to sort of categorize it. Is it a short film, a mid-length film, or a feature film? And people keep arguing and.
Well, the mid-length category really has problems finding space in the world. Between 30 minutes and 80 minutes, 30 and 80, you're
lost.
You're lost. You could have added a few scenes to get there. A lot of people do that.
I know. And I mean, people have been advising me and telling me never make that mistake again, because 60 is very difficult to categorize. So it's either 30 minutes or 75 and above.
Exactly.
And I keep saying, well, but if the story finishes after 60 minutes, what am I to do? I mean, again, this is art. I mean, it's not like something that you measure, it's people should be more flexible. And I think, the final word is you have an intact story, and the spectators like what they see. Okay,
Yeah.
so if you give them a 1 hour good film, and if you give them an hour and a half, but it's a lousy film, I mean, it's very.
Yeah,
it's
I agree with you totally. But
yeah,
you know, we have these constraints now,
exactly. They are
industry
constrained.
constraints and
Yeah,
distribution constraints. We almost they're giving me this. Yeah, we have 4 minutes left to talk, because we have after that we have another meeting with another director. Tell me about your projects. When did you finish this film? This was finished this year.
Yeah, it was finished 2021.
21. Okay, so now I suppose you're trying to market it in festivals and
Exactly.
and then what's your next project?
I'm currently writing a new film. I'm also trying to work on a new novel, because I'm also a writer.
Oh, you're a novel writer. Oh, that's very good.
Yeah, I have a published novel and a collection of short stories, and I'm currently working on my third book. I hope that I finish it at some point. I do finish it at some point, because I consider myself a little bit slow.
Yeah, well, and basically you dedicate yourself to cinema and writing, or do you have other?
And I'm also an associate professor of English literature at Alexandrie University. So,
okay. So
I have my academic side as well.
So you have
multifaceted. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good. I mean, you're to do one thing, you have really to have free hands and have a lot of possibilities to dedicate. But then, if you like also teaching, why not teach, pass on the knowledge?
Yeah, I definitely enjoy teaching a lot, and I think that English literature has been an addition to me, studying English literature, and my specialization actually is critical theory, so it has broadened my horizons and definitely added a lot of dimensions to my character. So I'm really grateful to my job and to my education, definitely.
Yeah, well, that's great. And sending me a message. That's great. It's listen, we need to, I think, to end this meeting. It was such a pleasure talking to you, Dina. It's very nice having all these comments on your film and your work. Hopefully you'll be able, maybe for a next future film, if it is comedy, you could submit it to the festival, and we'll be very delighted to watch it, and hopefully next time we'll be able to bring in the people from this year. We didn't have the means to do it, but hopefully we'll be able to do it, and so that people like you, we get to meet them and get other people meet them, so that we create this network, this sustainable and powerful network that can help producers, indie producers, and directors do very good films, just like the one you've done. Thank you so much, and the best luck for the festival. We'll be watching.
I would have loved to be there. Definitely, I would have loved.
Yeah, well, you've been to Morocco before, or you haven't been?
I have been to Tanja.
Tanja, okay, yeah, okay.
Short Film Festival in Tanja.
Okay. So your film was in the Short Film Festival of Tanja.
Yeah, my first short film. Rest in peace.
I usually go to that festival. I attend to that festival, the Mediterranean Short Film Festival. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's great. Thank you so much, Dina, for being with us. And
thank you.
Take care of yourself, and let's stay in touch.
Yeah, I just want to tell you something. It's called Laura. There is this title, Laura, down there. Can you? It should be Dina. I don't know why is it Laura.
I'm sorry.
I don't know if you can correct
Dina
it.
Abd Elsalam, no? It's
Yeah.
Dina Abd Elsalam, no?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll make sure. Yeah, I don't know why it's Lara. No, it doesn't. No, it will be.
I hope you can correct it or adjust.
Yeah. We will correct it. Don't worry about it. Yeah, we'll make
Okay,
sure.
thank you so much. Okay.
All right, take care now.
Thank you.
Have a
Bye.